It's all covered in today's China Truths.
According to multiple online videos circulating on the X platform, a large number of military vehicles and tanks suddenly appeared on the streets of Beijing's Dongcheng district in the early morning hours of August 17th, causing traffic congestion on many streets. Some believe this was a normal military rehearsal for the September 3rd military parade. Others believe it was not related to the parade rehearsal, but rather a political signal of infighting within the CCP leadership. On August 13th, Chinese Communist Party officials announced that temporary traffic restrictions would be implemented in the Tiananmen Square area and on surrounding roads from August 15th to 17th, with Tiananmen Square closed from August 20th to 23rd. Reports indicate that security around Tiananmen Square was significantly tightened starting at noon on the 15th, with roads around Chang'an Avenue shut down. Online reports of a large number of military vehicles and tanks appearing on the streets of Beijing's Dongcheng district in the early morning hours of August 17th sparked widespread concern. In response, some netizens argued that the large number of tanks on the streets of Beijing was not related to a parade rehearsal. Twitter user Xie posted, "A large number of tanks entered Beijing's urban area, but several buses deliberately blocked the road, preventing the tanks from advancing." The hostile intent between the buses and tanks was very clear. Xie further stated, "It can be seen that when this heavily armed force was blocked on the street, no officers left the tanks to provide command and coordination. This means the tanks were on combat alert. Therefore, these tanks were not participating in the September 3rd military parade rehearsal, but were engaged in military operations." Xie also analyzed, "Troops from outside cannot enter Beijing without the approval of the Central Military Commission. The Railway Transportation Bureau has military representatives, and it is impossible for them to transport troops without authorization from the Central Military Commission. Once the railway transport troops enter Beijing, the tanks cannot be unloaded from the trains unless the freight yard provides equipment. The Beijing Garrison Command guards the main access routes to Beijing. In short, it is unlikely to be rebels, but rather Zhang Yaoxia increasing the army's deployment and preparing for a major move." Netizens commented, "Today, traffic in Beijing's Chaoyang district and Dongcheng district is extremely congested, especially at night when Chaoyang Road and Chaoyang North Road were completely blocked. A large number of tanks and armored vehicles are entering Beijing from Tongzhou via the Jingtong Expressway. This is a military parade rehearsal. The tanks are parked here, and the police are watching. It's related to the widespread internet outage in Beijing." In early July, a video circulated online showing what appeared to be a convoy of tanks, completely enclosed and camouflaged, driving down Beijing's Chang'an Avenue late at night. The vehicles were completely covered by blue sheds supported by metal scaffolding, with only a few small windows at the front and rear. Even the wheels were entirely obscured. During the first rehearsal of the CCP's Grand Military Parade on August 9th, traffic control was implemented in areas around Chang'an Avenue and Tiananmen Square in Beijing. All businesses around Tiananmen were closed, even in the bustling Wangfujing district, which shut down early. Subway services were suspended. Authorities deployed large numbers of armed police and military police to patrol the streets and prevent citizens from returning home. Many people complained bitterly because the roads were blocked. Every time Beijing hosts a major event or conference, authorities go on high alert. In preparation for the parade, reports indicated that many petitioners from across the country were temporarily held in Zhujiangzhuang, a location often used to house petitioners. Local officials also stepped up monitoring at Beijing railway station and the airport. Meanwhile, some netizens voiced criticism, calling the military parade a waste of money and time and a burden on the people.
It's all covered in today's China Truths.
Have you ever walked through a luxury mall only to find it completely deserted? No shoppers, no music, just silence echoing off empty storefronts. That's the reality in Beijing today. In the heart of China's capital, economic stagnation and hyper-surveillance have collided. Job losses are rising, entire commercial districts are shutting down, and ordinary citizens face military-style ID checks just to switch subway lines. Even the iconic Tiananmen Square now requires a WeChat reservation and multiple identity verifications just to enter. This isn't just about one city or one day, it's a warning sign of something much larger. From economic decay to social control, Beijing in 2025 is quietly becoming the symbol of a nation in systemic crisis. But what's really going on behind the scenes, and what could this mean for China's future? Stay with us. Beijing's silent collapse. The capital's economy is cracking. In the heart of China's capital, an eerie silence now hangs over what were once the beating centers of consumer life. Beijing's Joy City Mall, formerly packed with middle-class shoppers and brand-name boutiques, is now a cavern of echoing footsteps. At the Adidas store, no customers browse the racks. The parking garage, once impossible to find a space in, now sits almost entirely empty. The shift didn't happen overnight, but it's accelerated at a stunning pace. And the most alarming part? No one in power is talking about it. According to leaked internal assessments shared by local observers, some commercial streets in Beijing report that up to 93% of retail stores have shuttered, many within 2 years of opening. These aren't small mom-and-pop shops. Even well-funded franchises are pulling out quietly. Behind the locked doors and darkened windows lie unpaid rents, dwindling foot traffic, and consumer confidence that has all but collapsed. Office space tells a similar story. Districts like Wangjing, Soho, and the once prestigious Financial Street are seeing steep declines in leasing activity. Rents are being slashed, but the tenants are simply not coming back. Startups are folding, foreign firms are exiting, and domestic corporations are cutting overhead. The shift to remote work doesn't fully explain it. What's happening is structural, not just cyclical. Even Beijing's subway, once a symbol of the city's relentless energy, is now a sign of its slowing pulse. At Daxing Line stations, even during rush hour, trains arrive with rows of empty seats. Platforms are no longer crammed shoulder to shoulder. It's not just a transportation issue, it's a reflection of economic disengagement. Fewer jobs, fewer commutes, less spending, less movement. What makes this downturn uniquely chilling is the silence surrounding it. There are no televised debates, no headlines in state media, no official admissions of recession or contraction. The facade of normalcy remains intact, but the reality on the ground tells a different story. Beijing's economy, once the proud face of China's modernization, is hollowing out from within. In a country where data is tightly controlled and dissent is dangerous, this silent collapse raises a terrifying question. If the capital can decay this quietly, how deep does the rot go elsewhere? The malls may be empty, but what they reveal is a void far more profound. Soaring prices, sinking lives, survival in today's China. In today's China, survival is no longer about ambition, it's about getting through the day. In Beijing and beyond, even the cheapest staples, instant noodles, pickled vegetables, a bottle of soda, have become small luxuries. Master Kong noodles now cost 6 yuan per pack, nearly double the pre-2020 price. Mustard greens have jumped from 0.5 yuan to 3. Even soda is too expensive for many. This isn't abstract inflation. It's a daily squeeze. Prices keep rising, but paychecks haven't budged since 2019. Prices go up every day, but my salary stays the same, one janitorial worker says. Families are cutting meat, skipping restaurants, and scaling birthday meals down to tap water and noodles. The Chinese middle class once dreamed of homes, cars, and holidays. Now it's about paying rent and affording rice. Worse than the financial pain is the psychological shift. Hope has turned into quiet desperation. Online forums are full of budgeting tips and low-cost meal plans. The buzzwords now are hang on and don't fall behind. In a system obsessed with stability, the real threat may not be protest, but poverty. When survival replaces aspiration, what's left of the Chinese dream? The crisis isn't buried in data, it's visible in every price tag and every strained face in the supermarket aisle. Trapped in poverty, migrant workers and graduates left behind. Every morning at dawn, hundreds of men gather at informal labor markets like Makuli on the outskirts of Beijing. They come with hopes, resumes, and calloused hands, waiting for contractors who may or may not show up. Some stand for hours just to earn a day's wage mixing cement or unloading bricks. These are China's internal migrants, the backbone of its cities, now discarded in an economy that has less and less room for them. Among them are younger faces, too, many just out of college. They arrive with degrees but leave with disappointment. A 26-year-old woman from Haikou, for example, earns 6,000 yuan a month in a basic office support role. Half of it goes to rent. After utilities and transport, she's left with about 800 yuan for food, clothes, and emergencies. To survive, she prepares meals under 10 yuan, plain noodles, cabbage soup, sometimes just steamed buns and tea. This quiet crisis extends across a generation. College graduates, once symbols of upward mobility, now find themselves buried in debt and underemployment. Many owe 200,000 to 300,000 yuan in student loans, which they hide from their families out of shame. Instead of securing stable careers, they juggle gig jobs, part-time retail, online customer service, or live stream themselves trying to sell lipstick and cookware for a few coins per viewer. But this isn't just about low pay, it's about broken promises. For decades, China told its youth that hard work and education would guarantee prosperity. Now they find themselves overqualified and underpaid in a system that offers fewer real opportunities. The emotional toll is immense. Depression, burnout, and financial anxiety are rising sharply, though few speak openly for fear of reprisal or ridicule. Meanwhile, the urban economy these groups depend on offers no safety net. There is no unemployment benefit for informal workers, no student loan forgiveness, no housing subsidies for low-income earners in major cities. What remains is a permanent state of precarity, a generation adrift, earning just enough to survive, never enough to escape. As wages stagnate and costs rise, China's working poor and its educated youth are converging into the same economic trap, one built not of laziness, but of systemic neglect. This isn't just a failure of markets, it's the quiet collapse of a social contract. And once that breaks, rebuilding trust may be far harder than rebuilding GDP. Debt without borders, China's global gamble backfires. What began as China's grand vision to reshape global trade through the Belt and Road Initiative, BRI, is now unraveling under the weight of delays, ballooning budgets, and mounting debt. Once seen as a masterstroke of global influence, the BRI is increasingly viewed as a financial trap for both Beijing and its partners. Flagship projects like the Jakarta-Bandung high-speed rail, once budgeted at $4 billion, have swelled to $7.3 billion amid mismanagement and political tension. Despite finally opening, the project posted a $93 million loss in its first year. Experts say it may never break even. In Sri Lanka, debt turned into leverage. The government handed over Hambantota Port to a Chinese state-owned firm on a 99-year lease after failing to repay loans, sparking outrage and fears of debt diplomacy. Pakistan now teeters on the brink, seeking IMF bailouts to cover Chinese-financed infrastructure bills. By mid-2025, over 75 countries owe China a staggering $35 billion under BRI agreements. From Zambia to Laos, many are stuck in a cycle of renegotiations, asset losses, and rising public unrest. Back home, Chinese citizens are starting to ask, why pour billions abroad while unemployment climbs and the economy slows? The BRI, meant to showcase strength, now looks like a costly overreach. What was designed as a new Silk Road increasingly resembles a global debt trap. Meanwhile, Beijing's own foundations are cracking. Empty malls, soaring prices, and disillusioned youth reflect a nation under silent strain. As hope fades and trust erodes, China faces not just economic risk, but a generational reckoning. If current trends hold, the collapse may not stop at borders. It could reshape the global order. So what happens when control tightens, but solutions run dry? When ambition is replaced by fear and the future by doubt?